In session 22, we're going to cover division, and in particular dividing when it includes negative numbers. This is going to be a very quick session, just as the previous session was on multiplication. It's going to be very straight and to the point. If you remember from earlier on, one of the ways that we defined division is that there is a corresponding multiplication problem that also has to be equal in order for the division problem to work out. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, let me go ahead and give you an example here. 16 divided by 2. We could go ahead and calculate that out in our heads, most of us. However, whatever this answer is here, that answer, when multiplied by our denominator of this division problem over here, needs to equal our numerator, which is our top. So another way of saying what is 16 divided by 2, you can say what number here, which is what our answer is going to be, what number times 2 equals 16? Well, this is a positive 16, and this is a positive 2. So what number times positive 2 equals positive 16? Well, positive 8 does. So we can see that a positive number divided by a positive number gives us a positive answer. Well, let's change things around just a little bit. Let's say instead we have 16 divided by a negative 2. What's our answer here? Do the same thing we did back on this first one. Our answer here, rephrase the question. Instead of going 16 divided by 2, just ask yourself what number here times negative 2 will equal 16? And that's a positive 16. Well, the answer is negative 8. Why is that? Because a negative number times a negative number is a positive answer. So 16 divided by a negative 2 is going to be a negative 8. Well, let's switch it around just a little bit more. What if we have minus 16 over a positive 2? Well, what's that equal? Once again, ask yourself, what number times positive 2 equals negative 16? Well, the answer here is negative 8. And the reason is because a negative times a positive equals a negative. Negative 8 times a positive 2 equals a negative 16. Therefore, negative 16 divided by a positive 2 equals a negative 8. And then in our last example here, this last sample, this time we're going to put negatives in both the top and the bottom. What is negative 16 divided by a negative 2? Ask yourself again, what number times negative 2 equals negative 16? Well, the answer there is 8, which is also, by default, it's a positive 8. Why is that? Because a positive times a negative equals a negative. Positive 8 times negative 2 equals a negative 16. So as you can see here, this is a match with the way you handled things with multiplication. In multiplication, when you multiply two positive numbers together or you multiply two negative numbers together, your answer is positive. And when you multiply a positive with a negative, your answer is negative. And the same thing is true here with division. If you divide two positives together, your answer is positive. If you divide two negatives together here, your answer is also positive. And then if you divide a positive by a negative, your answer is negative. And if you divide a negative by a positive, your answer is negative. And that's simply what our review page shows us here. A positive number divided by a positive gives you a positive answer. And remember, your answer to a division problem is called a quotient. A positive divided by a negative or a negative divided by a positive is going to give you a negative answer. And then lastly, a negative divided by a negative is going to give you a positive. That finishes up session 22.